Hello YouTube, Ken Hayao here with another Black Desert Online patch notes for you here from Korea, and today is April 29, 2020, and it looks like this is going to be a long video here because there are lots of events and lots of class changes for us to go over. So let's jump right into it here, starting as always with the event. Pretty interesting event here. They're actually adding new areas to those special items like compass pieces, map pieces, and the infinite potions pieces. This is for an event. So here, this is for the map pieces. Now you can also farm them in Centaurs or Bashims, and then for the compass pieces you can farm in the new areas in Odalita, and this is for all the infinite potion things here. You can farm them in places like Proty Cave over here, or Sikraya upper area, or Fadus, some more Odalita stuff here, and Drigan areas, Kama Sylvia areas. So yeah, so they're during the event they're trying to help people out who are trying to collect these pieces. Pretty cool. I'm gonna try to take advantage of some of this, put a hold on my bartering, grinding, and maybe try to get some of these infinite potion pieces here in some of these less crowded areas. Pretty cool event here. This is gonna last until when? Until May 13th. So I got about a good 2 weeks there to get my grind on. Maybe I'll try to get some compass pieces or some of this other stuff here. All right, so moving on. The next event here is a fishing event. You get this. Actually, it's really a farming event because you're gonna go fishing, but you get this fish here, and then you can trade with Rio here and Valia for this feed, and then with this feed you can make these improved cow things or chicken things for farming, and then you're gonna be able to, if you choose the cow thing, you'll be able to harvest at 200% efficiency, and if you go with the chicken thing, you'll be able to harvest with 300% efficiency. So you're gonna get a lot more eggs and meats and milks from that. Pretty interesting if you're into farming cows or chicken. Now you can get 2 or 3 times more of the products that you used to get before from that. Then we have the next event here with the Russian dolls here. You get these dolls from grinding, gathering, and fishing, as all these events are, or these drop events are. And then you get these, and there's a quest, you can turn them in to get some contribution points. All of them just give you different amounts of Kafra stones, sorry, not Kafra stones, they give you artisan memories and cron stones. This one does give you Kafra stones times 10 and some sharps and hards over here. Yeah, it's just like you open a doll, you get a doll, you get different layers of dolls, and I believe you can after you open the first one, you have a chance of spawning the one inside, and if you're lucky enough to spawn all the way to the end, you're gonna get 10 Kafras, 18 hards for your enhancing, to try to enhance your dead god armor, which you guys don't have. All right, moving on to the next event here. But they're now going to be selling those book of training in a cash shop for a discounted price. You can see here 1 hour, 3 hour, 5 hour, 7 hour, 10 hour. This is for the combat XP, and then the skill experience here too. 10 hours for 5 mil. This might be interesting. I might try to take some of these 5 hour ones and try to push level 62 so I can get my Kaposha earrings, so I can sell one of my earrings and use that money to upgrade some other piece of gear. Another login event here to get these rewards. You guys know the icons, you know what these are. Nothing great here except for the 14th day. We'll have a Shakato combat box here. You get the hot time event here now during nighttime and weekends. They're giving us some extra XP and some extra life skills XP here, except for trading. For some reason they exclude trading on this. I'm not sure what the deal is. 50% loot scroll here, Old Moon loot scroll, pretty good. 60 minutes. You can buy these actually in the cash shop for 10 mil. So you better go to a place where you're gonna get good drops. This is item chance, not item amount. So 50% increase chance to get your items to drop. This might be a good time to use. It might be good to use this to get the potions combined with that event, the infinite potion pieces. Well, another event here. This is some combination of costume pieces, like random, like this hats and buffs. Not gonna spend too much time. Every day you can go to the shop and buy this for 100,000 silver. And you got some combat XP buffs here and stuff like that. More combat XP buffs or life skill buff here. Nothing too exciting, but not gonna spend too much time. And here we get to the huge amount of class changes. So starting with the warrior here. First one, they just changed the location of the skill icon, so I don't need to go over that. Explanation change, so nothing important. Another explanation. So warrior, it seems like all these 3 changes here are cosmetics really. Icon location changed and explanation changes. They don't say what the changes are, so I will not be able to tell the difference. So here we got to the sorceries changes, and these are all for awakening, and this is for the first skill here. The first change is for a skill called turn back slash this one here, turn back slash, and it seems that they added 1 hit to the skill. And the other change here is for a skill called Violation. You can see here the damage and the hits. It used to be these numbers here. You can see on the screen here. This is before, the ones on the left column here before, and now this is going to be on the right here is the after. So at rank 3 for Violation, you're going to be doing 949 times 8 and 1091 times 4 as opposed to 887 times 8 and 1020 times 4. So damage buff there and PvE. It looks like unfortunately the PvP damage remains the same. The last change here for the sorceress. I don't understand this. This doesn't not a skill, but some shard. I think this, if I'm following this correct here, now when you consume one of those shards that the sorceress is part of the sorceress special gimmick, you're actually going to recover some health every time you consume one of those shards. So pretty cool. Give some sustain here for the sorceress. Moving on here to the ranger. Not too many changes for the ranger, and this is for Ranger Awakening. PvE increase damage here for this skill regeneration. It used to be 7 times 1087. Now it's 7 times 1250, so a decent buff here. And then this other skill here, which is a flow called Tempest. They reduced the Tempest cooldown from 18 seconds to 15 seconds, and they added a down attack. Now moving on to the giant here again for Awakening. Looks like they're buffing all the Awakening skills. PvE damage for this skill here, which is called Ground Lifting. So you can see the changes against the numbers here. At rank 3, it used to be 2 times 1093 and 3 times 1562. Now it's going to be just 5 times and 1562. So they increased the damage substantially there. Now they only buffed the first 2 hits, but by quite a bit. They also buffed Slugfest. So Slugfest used to be 693 times 10 and 832 times 3. Wow, now it's a lot more damage. So looks like Giant Awakening here received some quite good buffs, and there's more here for the Giant. They also increased the crit chance. They also added a crit chance 50% in PvE, and the last hit there's a stiff also for PvE, and then the next skill here is adding a crit chance also in PvE. Used to be these values here, and now they're up to 100% at rank 4, and this is for the skill Devastation. So Devastation now at rank 4 will have a 100% crit chance in PvE only, unfortunately. And then moving on to the Valkyrie here. Only one change for the Valkyrie. Pure Sadness, my new main. Only got one little bit of piece of love here. And this apparently there was a problem with the shield chase where the frontal guard was not applying, but now they fixed it. Now Tamer, lots of changes for the Tamer here. I was checking out earlier. So if you're a Tamer main here, first part here is for the main hand. So they'll probably apply it to Succession. So they improved the range to Bolt Wave and Jolt Wave, and they improved the PvE damage for Absolute Whiplash. We used to be 3 times 975, and now it's going to be 3 times 1023. Now for some Tamer Awakening changes. For Leaves Dropping and the Flow Gust here, they increased the distance they travel, so you can go a little farther away and come back. For Beast Rampage, they increased the range on the attack. You can see here this other damage for Beast Rampage. They all increased. Rank 4, it used to be 7 times 488. It looks like they're not really increasing the damage. They kind of, you have to do the math here to see, but they changed from 7 hits to 3 hits, but they increased in the damage to 1100, almost 1200% for each of those 3 hits. And they also added or this says it changed. I don't know what it was before. Let's see here. Sorry. Before this apparently was 30%. Now it's 50% crit chance. And then this is for this other skill here. They also increased the damage for PvE. This skill here, which is Garuda. And then another skill change here, and lots of damage buffs here for the Tamer. Garuda got a buff. All around Spinner also got a damage buff here. And then Legendary Beast also got a damage buff over here. Ultimate Echo Pierce also got damage here, damage buff. Moonlight Strike also got a slight damage buff here, not a lot, but a little bit. Full Moon also got a slight buff here, and Cloud Stomping got a damage buff here as well. And this moving on here to the Succession skills for the Tamer. They increased the range also for the prime versions of Wave, Jolt, and Bolt Wave. Is that what it's called? Bolt Wave, Jolt Wave. So they the same skills that got buffs on the main hand side also got buffs on the Succession side. So Bolt Wave, jolt wave. And I believe this skill is called Whiplash. It got a buff to the ultimate damage, and it also got a buff to the prime version here for the succession skill. And then Musa has one change to a flow, and it's the awakening back flow apparently. And you got a crit chance 100% here in PvE. Then from Mehua, only one change here. No, Mehua also has several changes. Again, this is for awakening and PvE damage for all these skills here. Let's see. First one here is for Sticky Snowflake. You can see here a little bit of a damage buff, not too much, a little bit. The Moonrise also got these damage buffs here for each level. This is for Petal Bloom over here, also another damage buff for Petal Bloom. Remember, these are all for PvE damage only. And then for Moonrise here, you got a little PvE crit chance increase here, 30% at level 4. And then for New Year's Eve, another damage buff here. And then for Petal Drill, it says here they changed the description to say during the usage you get super armor. During skill use, super armor as opposed to just having super armor. I'm not sure if this just says explanation change or if it's going to change the functionality of the skill, but there you go. And for Mehua Succession, they added a little icon here for the red blade, red moon, red whatever, the succession buff. Each tier, each level here. This is for tier 2. And this is for tier 3. It's gonna look like this instead of showing you the buff at the end, at the bottom of your, or whatever your buffs are located. It's gonna show apparently as this new icon here for the Mehua. Pretty cool aesthetic changes. Nothing really important there. One change here for a succession skill, however, is giving you just another same thing. Oh, it's just for the Sticky Snowflake. Same explanation change here. Instead of just saying super armor, it's gonna say during the skill usage you get super armor. Then moving on here to Witch. This is for awakening, and again with the PvE only changes for the Witch. First one is for Equilibrium Break. You got some damage buff here. Then for the Tornadive Flow, you got another buff here, damage buff. It looks like all the awakening skills for the Witch got buffs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the Witch's skills got buffs. This one is Fissure Wave. This is Thunderstorm over here, another buff. They have another damage buff here for Voltaic Pulse. And the last change here for the Witch is a buff to Yoke of Ordeal. Some strange names here for the Witch's skills. Never actually looked into these. Wizard also received Awakening PvE damage buffs. The first one is Aqua Jail Explosion right here. You can see the damage buffs here before and after. These are changes for Chilling Wave, another damage buff here. This skill here is Cataclysm, so Cataclysm also receiving a damage buff. Water Sphere over here also receiving a damage buff. Hellfire over here also receiving a damage buff. And the last skill here for the Wizard is Blade of Destruction, also receiving a damage buff. And then Kunoichi changes here, also a few changes for Kunoichi, and it looks like these are all for Awakening Kunoichi only. And the first one here to change the skill called Halo, and it's increasing the range of the skill and also increasing the debuff on the enemy. It used to be a 10-second of 10 DP debuff, now it's a 10-second of 15 DP debuff. And then damage, PvE damage increases to these skills over here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. First one here is Wheel of Wrath. You can see it only says rank 3 here for this one, so probably the other 2 ranks were not increased. Next buff here is for Chain Crash, another damage buff, 200% extra damage there. This one is Half Moon Slash, another 100% times 4 buff there. I wish they would keep these in the same order as they showed up in game. They're all over the place. It's kind of hard to find them and translate them, but all right, let's keep going here. The next one is a Flow, and this is for Flow Wrath. You get a damage buff here and a crit chance buff in PvE only, 50% extra crit chance for PvE only for Flow Wrath. And then the last buff here for the Kunoichi is for Lethal Spin Spree, and a rank 4. You can see the damage buff here, almost 100% per hit damage buff to the Kunoichi. Now moving on to the Ninja. This is also for Awakening, and again PvE damage only. First one here is for skill called Seamless. You got a PvE crit chance here to 100% and a decent damage buff here. It looks like they decreased the cooldown from 6 to 4 seconds, and it looks like the 100% crit from here also applies to the Mach Explosion flow. Moving on to the next damage here, next buff here for the Ninja Awakening. They buff the last hit of Sura Chaos Sphere. The last hit was buffed. Right here you can see a crit chance in PvE and a little more, quite a bit more damage. Low Execution here, you got a damage buff as well. Good damage buff too for Ninja Awakening. Then Corrupt Sword Dance got also a buff here, another decent buff. buff. Continuing here with the ninja buffs. This skill is called Sudden Decapitation. You can see here a little bit of a damage buff, nothing fantastic, but more damage is always welcome. And then Bloodthirst over here, got another damage buff. No, not a lot, not a little either. And then Murderous Intent also got a slight damage buff here, a little more than 100% per hit for Murderous Intent. Continuing here with more ninja changes. Wow, Ninja Awakening got a lot of changes this week. This is for Serpent Ascension. Quite a decent amount of damage buff here, damage increase for this skill. And then Drastic Measure got, wow, quite a big jump in damage here at rank 3. And the last change here for the ninja is to a skill called Vacuum Slash. A little bit of a damage buff there. Now going into the Dark Knight changes. These are all changes to the Awakening for Dark Knight. Again, PvE only damages. First one here is Shattering Darkness with a damage buff to the second part of the skill. Actually, no, it's not a damage buff. They just reallocated the damage. Actually, it seemed like it might be a nerf. It used to be 11 hits of 392. Now it's 1 hit with 11 max hit. Okay, so it hits once, but it can hit 10 targets. I believe 11 targets, I should say. And then for the next one is a Flow. This one is for Flow Bombardment. Same kind of changes. Looks like they're changing how the skills for the Dark Knight behave. Instead of hitting 11 times, it's 1 hit with a max of 11 hits. I never quite understood what this means here. If anybody knows the difference between times 11 and I guess it goes from instead of hitting the same target 11 times, and now it hits 1 time, but it can hit a max of 11 targets. And that might be what it is. If you have a better explanation, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. Then the next change for the Dark Knight is for Root of Catastrophe right here. This is the damage buff there. Small damage buff, 100% per hit. Moving on here to the next buff for the Dark Knight. This is for Twilight Dash. Got a damage buff here to the last part, the second part of the skill. And then this here is Spirit Legacy. Got a damage buff as well. For Spirit Hunt now, the super armor only applies when attacking. I don't know if it's just an explanation change or if there's a functionality change. I'm not a Dark Knight main anymore. I don't remember how these things work, but if you do, you will know whether or not this is a change or just an explanation change. Now moving on to Striker Awakening here. More bunches of changes for the Striker. You can see here, and for Succession as well. This is for Endless Explosion here. Damage buff, quite a decent damage buff. This skill here is Skull Crusher. Another decent damage buff right there for Skull Crusher. And this skill here is Echo Spirit. Another damage buff there for Echo Spirit. Spirit Cannon. And also another damage buff to Spirit Cannon over there. This one is Rampaging Predator. This skill here is Infernal Destruction. Another one with a decent buff here, damage buff. Looks like for Spirit Cannon, they're adding a 15 DP debuff to the skill. And for Infernal Destruction, they're adding a 50% crit chance to the skill. Only when it's off cooldown. And for Fallout, they increase the number of hits, which also increases the number of damage. Moving on here to Succession. If I skip some of these changes, you can follow the patch notes link in the bottom here. There are a lot of changes here, guys. This is getting to be an incredibly long video, so I'm gonna leave a link to the patch notes. If you want to go and explore in more detail something that you think I missed here, feel free to go and check the link, the patch notes link down below. But I'm covering as much as I can here without taking all day to record this. Then we have here for Striker Succession. This is for the skill called Prime Wolffang, or you used to be able to use in 2 ways. Now you can only use it if you do back and right click. No longer back and left click will work. And then for the Mystic here, lots of Mystic Awakening buffs, and these, once again, like all classes today, are all PvE damage buffs. First one is for Tidal Burst. Tidal Burst getting a damage buff over here. This one is Rapid Stream. Rapid Stream also getting a damage buff for PvE. And then Sea Burial is also getting a damage buff in PvE right here. Wave Orb also getting a PvE damage. The skill here is Dragon Shatter, also getting a PvE damage. And then for the Flow Wave Orb here, another damage buff. And then for Succession, these are pretty much making the skills easier to use or flow a little better, a little smoother. And then we have here some other interesting changes here. When you use these skills, you're going to heal now. You're going to consume one of those balls, the gimmick, the Mystic Gimmick ball, and you're going to heal 20 health every time you use them. Each one of these skills, let me see what they are here. The first one is Prime Sea Burial. You're going to heal now. Second one is Rage Hammer. And the third one is Wave Orb. All right, continue on here with the lawn changes. We have here more lawn awakening changes. They increase the range for Mangler or Earthly Pain. They're adding a debuff for DP, 15 DP debuff for 10 seconds when it's off cooldown. For Bleeding Hearts, they're adding a 20 DP debuff for 10 seconds, and the PvE damage for the following skills has been changed. So this first one here is Furor or Furor, whatever it is, got a buff here. Then Bleeding Hearts also got a damage buff here. Mangler also got a damage buff over here. Earthly Pain also got a damage buff over here. Bridal Despair also got a damage buff. And the last change for the line here is for Tailspin. Got a damage buff here on the first hit of the skill, first part of the skill. And I think for the archer here, there's only one change. There was some skill, I cannot figure out what skill this was, but apparently the knockdown effect was also being applied in PvP while you were mounted on a horse, and they fixed that, if that's what I'm reading correctly here. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find any skills here, the skill names here, and Google Translate did not help either. So that's if you know about this issue on a horse there, and there's not, now you can no horse around on archer and knock down people anymore. Moving on to the guardian changes here. This is for the main hand weapon here, and then there's some succession weapons. No changes for awakening for the guardian. Okay. First change here is for Absolute Disdain. Apparently they increased the distance that you move when you use this skill. Could be quite interesting. Add some more mobility here, way to get behind the enemy. They're changing the flow, the cooldown of Black Blood Eruption flow from 15 to 9 seconds. That's pretty good. Just some smoothing changes here for this skill. Not gonna get into that. Got in succession, some more smoothness and connection issues here. Connection smoothness for the guardian. They're just changing some key combinations here, trying to make the class less clunky to play, like taking the shift, holding the shift away from this skill here. Yeah, more connection things. So the looks like they're still trying to make the guardian a little smoother to play. No huge buffs here for the guardian. No damage buffs of any sort. So that's finally it for the class changes here. Looks like Guardian is going to be a little smoother to play. Moving on to item changes here. They're actually adding some new items that you can rent from NPC in Valencia. Some really good stats here. We got the explanation. You got a picture here for the sword, for a main hand weapon, a glove, and an offhand. You can see the stats here. They're similar to a tri. They're similar tri pieces of equipment. One notable difference here that I found is that the sword has +5 all attack, all AP, in addition to the +18 monster AP here. Sorry, +8 monster AP here. So, and they're not exactly the same as a tri piece of gear that already exists, but you can rent them for 50 contribution points from the NPC. Nesser? Is that a guy in Valencia? It says here Valencia. The king of Valencia, prince of Valencia, I believe. If Nesser is his name, then that's where you can rent it for 50 contribution points. You can see here the gloves also add 5 AP. No crystal slots, which makes sense because they're rentals only. But pretty cool. Good way here if you have spare contribution points, you don't want to use them for life skill. You can rent main gear, main hand weapon, offhand weapon, awakening weapon, gloves, helmet, shoes, and armor slots. So all these 7 pieces of gear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of gear, again for 50 contribution from the NPC. And then when you're done, you can go and return the pieces. You do have to complete the Valencia quest apparently before you can do that. And then they're adding description here to guild trap items. So the fire one is adding a knockdown effect. I don't know if this is just explanation changes or if their effect changes, but I'll list them for you anyways. So this is for the fire, adding a knockdown. For the stun grenade, 10 seconds of stun. I don't know what this one is, but it's a reduction of 10 seconds or 40% movement reduction. And I don't know which one this is either. Mengdok, I don't know what Mengdok is, but this one is a 20 seconds every 2 seconds. Damage, 100 damage, I believe. Is this what this is? Let me check on Google here. Google, help me. Yeah, so this is poison damage, 100 every 2 seconds for 20 seconds. Monster changes. They're adding a new mechanic to Proty Cave. They're adding this guy here, this monster here that grows as you kill mobs there. There's a seed. The seeds is going to eventually breed into a monster they can kill and get more rewards. They're adding rewards, extra rewards to Proty Cave. So now it might be an interesting time. Well, now for me, when it gets out on you guys' side. And I'll be testing Proty Cave here maybe this weekend. Maybe that'll be my next video, so you can see how these changes work and if they're actually a good buff. I'm curious to see, because I've been living in the sea for quite a while now, so it'd be good to see if I can grind in a different spot. And it looks like that might be it. Oh, they actually no, that's not it. They're actually buffing some island content here. These are island quests, and now I don't know if these are the dailies, but these are island quests. It doesn't say dailies here, so I believe these are just a one-time only quest, but now they're giving you sea coins, 50 sea coins for this and contribution points, more sea coins for these, 50 sea coins, and other useful items. These are probably ship upgrade parts. I'll be looking more into those when I can jump into the game and test them out. So pretty cool here. And then some UI changes and appearance changes here to things. And looks like that's going to be it for the patch notes finally for today. Let's take a quick look here into the cash shop. I don't think there was anything new, but we'll go ahead and look at it real quick here to see in-game if there are any changes. So here we are in-game again. Let's see here. New. Anything new today? No, the same new things as last week. So nothing new, nothing on the hot event. They have here though that the events that I told you about before, the scroll drop change here. For 1 hour you get 50% extra drop, and then the training books here. And it looks like that's it for this week. There's nothing really, some sales going on here, but nothing really special this week. No new costumes, unfortunately. This is going to be the end of the patch notes video. If you liked the video and thought it was informative, I appreciate it if you could hit that like button. If you want to see more video content from me, don't forget to subscribe, and also come join our Twitch community and a Discord community. Links for that stuff all down below in the comment section. And that's going to be it from me for now, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.